What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at one of the decks that we were running last set for our set championships, and that's going to be the Kit Cloud Kicker Sapphire Steel. I think in set 5, this gets not only some great tools to answer some of the weaknesses we had in certain matchups, but also given the state of the current meta where Steelsong is so popular, a untargetable deck like this is going to cause your opponents so much havoc and allow you to quickly close out games before they're able to set up and answer you. If you guys are new here to the channel, please take a second to subscribe, like the video. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and once we get there, we're going to be giving away our D23 collector set cards to one lucky subscriber. We do have a giveaway video on the channel. All you gotta do is just head over there, leave a comment, and you'll be entered in to win. All right, with that out of the way, let's load this deck up onto Dreamborn. Let's put it into edit mode, and let's see what additions we got with Shimmering Skies. I think this deck is still gonna be very strong and something that I'm really gonna be looking forward to testing out further. All right, first thing I wanted to bring up with this deck, just some of the weaknesses that I experienced when playing with it at set championships. Our store had a bunch of Ruby Amethyst players in our meta, and every time we went up against one, it was one of our toughest matchups. We just never really had an answer to them getting out an early Flynn, an early Sisu, especially if we were drawing a bunch of cards off of Popsicles and off of Fortispheres. Their Sisus were just too hard to get rid of, and we didn't have enough big removal options to get that off the board nice and easy. We also had some trouble drawing into some of our removal. We only had 2 copies of Along Came Zeus, 3 copies of Grab Your Sword, and there were multiple cases where I hit neither of them, and those big lore gains per turn that Ruby Amethyst was getting early just made the game unrecoverable. The other big issue that we faced is that on turn 7, we had no answer for Be Prepared, so we had to either get set up and get our big lore gains before that turn, or if we were behind our ideal curve, we had to kind of play around the idea, knowing that if we went too wide, if we set up too much of our big late game characters, they would just be board wiped with a Be Prepared, which put us at a definite disadvantage for that matchup. Most other matchups, though, against Amethyst Steel, against the Bucky discard deck, we fared very well, because against Steel, having our main key character be a ward character allowed us to set up our board in a pretty much untargetable state. So they couldn't target our kits, they couldn't target our Cogsworths, and once we got Cogsworth on the field, all of our other characters had that resist as well. So for those matchups, we were pretty much able to steamroll. The one in combination that we didn't play against in set championships was Ruby Sapphire. That is the other main threat that a deck like this has. It has a way to speed up their curve to get to their high-end removal a lot quicker than Ruby Amethyst. So you can expect things like Be Prepared on turn 5, your Madame Medusas, and that type of removal on turn 4. And now seeing that that in combination is so popular right now in Shimmering Skies, I definitely want to edit this deck to be able to handle that a little bit better. All right, just before we get going, this is what we went into set championships with last time around. And our ideal curve for our opening matchups was going to be a turn 1 either Kit Cloud Kicker or a Popsicle into a turn 2 Mr. Smee. Turn 3 we would either play our big Kit Cloud Kicker shift so that we can sing things like Whole New World, Grab Your Sword, or if we had a Fishbone Quill in our hand, we'd use that, and then just get the Cogsworth out, get the Tinkerbells out, until we can play Tamatoa, doing the Hiram Tamatoa item discard retrieval, and then use a lucky dime to finish the game off. We had the Argus card in here as well to specifically deal with things like the Sisu that has 4 willpower. Although it only having the 1 willpower itself, it was very easy for our opponents to remove in any other matchup besides Ruby Amethyst. And then we ran 2 copies of a bodyguard in the Hercules Beloved Hero, but I didn't see much use out of it. Same thing with Rise of Titans, we ran 1 copy of it, and I felt like I had to hold on to it for a Queen's Castle, for a Fishbone, and when I didn't know what ink color I was playing up against in the first game, it felt like I was really gambling on if I should keep it in the hand, if I should put it back for the mulligan. And then although we did end up using one of them to get rid of a Queen's Castle instantly, running just 1 copy of it allowed the opponent just to play another Queen's Castle, which we didn't have an answer for, which ended up losing us a game. And then the other thing to note here is we did run 4 copies of A Whole New World. This is a card that I've gone back and forth over pretty much all last set and into the new set here. Although it is amazing when paired with Fishbone Quill to refresh your hand and get you all that extra ink, you do also run the risk of getting rid of some unwanted cards from your opponent and refreshing their hand with ideal cards for their next play. So especially against like Ruby Amethyst, There were times where maybe they were only down to 2 or 3 cards, and my only play was a Whole New World. And then when I played it myself, I would end up giving them a bounce option, a goat option, and really sealed the deal for them closing out the game. Whereas if I was playing a no wheel option, only I would be getting the benefit of the card draw. So I think this time in the rebuild, we're going to drop the Whole New Worlds. Also because I think with Shimmering Skies, there's some good ways now for us to increase our card draw without giving our opponents that benefit. All right, so after doing some trimming, I got our deck down to 42 cards, and I think this will be a good base for us to build upon. Definitely want to keep all these cards as they're so just quintessential to the deck identity. Probably look to go ahead and add at least one more copy of Along Came Zeus. And then since we're playing a early shift target, I might actually go ahead and get rid of Grab Your Sword, replacing it with more songs that our characters can sing early. Okay, so instead of Grab Your Sword, I think one of the edits I want to do for our songs is bring in a couple Let the Storm Rage On, allow us to get some extra card draw, especially since we're dropping the Whole New World. So we'll bring this up to 3 copies, and that'll allow some of our early game characters to be able to do that 2 damage without getting anything in return. And then another great card that I might look at getting inspiration from Steelsong and using would be Strength of the Raging Fire. Just a great card if we have a lot of low cost characters we can quickly get onto the board. Being able to sing this and deal 5 damage could be a good replacement when we don't have a Along Came Zeus in our hand, or if we really need to get rid of one high value target that our opponent has. Let's throw 4 copies of this in for now, and then see how that sits in the deck. Instead of Hades, we're gonna go ahead and put in 2 copies of Let It Go, allowing us to sing this, getting rid of any early game threats, especially if we can get those 5 cost characters out very quickly. So that brings us up to 49 cards. I'm going to hold it there for now because there are definitely some other cards I want to include in, but we might come back to the songs. I might be taking a look at adding How Far I'll Go just to get a little bit more reliable of an ink curve. I have played with One Jump Ahead in the past, and although it is a great turn 2 play, we actually have a new card that is going to fill our turn 2 ideal slot instead of this. And that new card is going to be Tipo Growing Sun. When you play him, you basically get the Fishbone Quill effect where you can ink a card from your hand, face down and exerted, allowing us to, on turn 3, play a 4 cost character, which could allow us to get our Hero out a turn earlier. Maybe we use the 4 cost Grammatala, and she can sing Along Came Zeus, which might be a little bit more of a friendly curve for this style of deck. As of right now though, let's go ahead and throw 4 copies of Tipo into the deck. Speaking of 4 cost characters that came out with Shimmering Skies, I think Belle of the Ball is one of the greatest characters in combination with Pete, Games Referee. If you can play this card before your Ruby opponent has 7 ink, for example, you're going to give your side of the board safety from being targeted from abilities. So definitely a card I want to include at least 2 copies in. We'll put 3 in for now, and then we'll adjust later on if needed. Another great card that Sapphire Steel in particular got that helps us with some of those unfavorable matchups, like your removal that Ruby has, is going to be Pete, Games Referee, allowing us to put a freeze on any actions your opponent plays until their next turn. Especially once they have 7 ink, we can guarantee that we're not going to get board wiped by Be Prepared, and any steel deck should be running at least 3 copies of this. We'll put 4 in because it is quintessential to get this card to set up a game-winning play. And then another new card that got added in with Shimmering Skies is going to be the Cusco Selfish Emperor. I want to use this card over the Rise of the Titans, and actually over Cogsworth too, because this card with 2 abilities can fill both of their roles if we have the additional ink at our disposal, which with Sapphire Steel we generally do have a lot of ink to spare at the end of our turns. So with Cusco, when you play this character, you may put a chosen item or location into that player's inkwell, and then for 4 ink, you can give all your other characters resist 1 until the start of your next turn, which is just a great way to use any leftover ink, giving your side of the field that Cogsworth effect. And I love this card so much, we'll put 3 copies of it. I think this is one of the best additions that we got for the deck, allowing us to condense 2 of our previous options into a single card choice. We'll put 4 copies of this into the deck as well. And then the only thing left to talk about would be the one-ofs that we might want to include into the deck. Obviously, Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock. Being able to reset your ink per turn, especially if we can play a Pete with this card as well, giving us a better chance to be able to actually use his ability. This is a great card to include just for the pure fact that if you get this combo off, it's going to be game over. And then another one of that I want to talk about is the Sheriff of Nottingham. He quests for 4, he's a 5/9, and although he is a 9 cost uninkable, for each item you have in play, you actually pay 1 less to play him. So if we're playing a bunch of popsicles and fortispheres, we've got our fishbone on the field. He's actually going to be like a 5 or 6 cost. And with that support ability, not only is he going to get 4 lore when he quests, but he's also going to give some of our lower cost characters 5 strength if they're attacking, allowing for us to make some pretty favorable trades. And then just an honorable mention of new cards that got added with Shimmering Skies. I'm a big fan of Medal of Heroes, allowing you to give a character an extra 2 lore on any given turn, especially when you combo it with the Lucky Dime, making it 4 lore on that turn. Means that we can turn our Mufasas, we can turn our Sheriff of Nottinghams into 6 lore characters, and with Lucky Dime, have them quest for 12. Or if you get a big Tamatoa onto the field, you can even have the possibility of just recycling this card, use its ability, put it in the discard, quest a Tamatoa, bring it back, play it again, discard it again, and now if you have enough ink, you could add 4 lore to your character without even taking it into consideration, using your Lucky Dime to double up on that. Alright, and then another card that's going to be core to the deck that we have to talk about is not going to be a new card, but it's something that we all should know by now. It's going to be Beast Tragic Hero. At the start of your turn, if this character has no damage, you can draw a card. Otherwise, he gets +4 this turn. As a no-wheel deck, this is going to be one of our secondary options for continuing to draw cards. And if you can give him a little safety with Bell, giving him a ward for the turn, you might be able to secure just some extra card draw. Or if you have a Cusco on the field, you can keep giving him like the resist 1, just to remove the threat of any like ping damage that he might get. And then another card that I wanted to take a look at from previous sets is going to be the Noi Orphan Thief. Noi has the ability, while you have an item in play, she will gain resist 1 and ward, especially if we're playing a Popsicle or Fortisphere on turn 1. You're going to play Noi on turn 2, and now you have a resist 1 ward character that quests for 2 very early in the game, and this can actually be a very good replacement for our Smee, as she won't take that constant damage, but we do still get the added benefit of that early game questing, and she has resist 1 to survive some early trades or ping damage. So alright, so after some tinkering, we were able to get the deck down to 62 cards. I think we could go to a flat 60, getting rid of probably like 1 copy of some of our more situational items. We could drop our one-off characters, stuff like that, but just having all those tools available to us is something that I do value a lot, and an extra 2 cards isn't going to throw off the early game math too much, especially since we run 4 of copies for most of our 1s and 2s. We should still be able to get them in our opening hands quite reliably. You'll notice here we did end up dropping the 4 copies of Hiram, and we're going to look to try and get card draw other ways. In my experience with Hiram, although he's a great card to get out and get that continued card draw every turn, it is also an easy target for a lot of Ruby's removal, as things like Sisu hits it instantly, Brawl hits it instantly, your Madame Medusas also hit it, and I have a hard time keeping it in the deck, paying 4 ink to draw 2 cards. Instead, we could have something like Let the Storm Rage On, where we're not only drawing a card, but we're dealing damage. We could play it for free if we sing it, which most of our characters in our deck are 3 costs or more and able to sing things like Let the Storm Rage On and Strength of the Raging Fire. And then if we play into most other steel matchups, they have been running Holy World, so we can even benefit from not having it in our deck list and totally refresh our hand if it gets used against us. You'll also notice I added in 3 copies of Grammatala. That'll be my preferred 4 ink play, although it doesn't give us just 2 cards like the Hiram does. She has a much better stat line, being a 3/3, able to actually challenge into things while also putting a card into our hand. And she's able to sing Let the Storm Rage On, Strength of the Raging Fire, and Along Came Zeus, giving us some nice versatility. Let's load this deck now up into Ink Table. I want to put it up against at least 1 match of Steelsong to show you how strong this can be against that type of deck, but also play a game against Ruby Amethyst, my kryptonite deck that I ended up losing to a bunch in set championships. Let's see if these improvements help us at all in that matchup. Alright, so we have it loaded up now against Steelsong. We're going up against the championship deck from the 10K CCS tournament. Let's see how our modified deck can do. We'll be going second in this case, so we'll be playing from the disadvantage draw. Do need to get rid of things like the Beast, just because we won't be able to really use his card draw. It's very easy for them to do 1 ping damage. And then I want to get rid of some of these songs just to give us as high of a chance as possible to get a turn 1 play, and preferably that Kit Cloud Kicker shift. We get our items, which is great for things like Noi. We also draw into a Fishbone. We can go ahead and ink the Tamatoa. We have more in the deck, we don't need it that early. Play a Popsicle to draw a card. And we hit our Kit Cloud Kicker as well. We actually hit 2 Kit Cloud Kickers. So now on turn 2, let's go ahead and play the kit, and we'll just pass. Turn 3, we can play the bigger kit, or we can play the Fishbone. We'll see what we draw into. That'll kind of determine what I want to do here. We get Strength of the Raging Fire, which is great because we can use it to get rid of probably one of these singers before they're able to do much damage. In that case, I probably want to get rid of probably the Meadow of Heroes. We'll play the Peat to prevent any songs from or actions from being played on this turn, and then we'll just pass it here. And then next turn, we'll be able to get some additional damage out. They play a Naveen, don't have any ability to play actions. So we can play, or let's go ahead and ink the Noi. We'll play Grammatala, and I need card draw right now, but we have a bunch of characters in play. Let's go ahead and grab the card draw. Pete can sing Strength of the Raging Fire, get rid of the Naveen. This Mr. Smee, unless they heal it with a Rapunzel, will go away next turn. And we can also put out our Kit Cloud Kicker next turn to sing Let It Go if they play something that we really need to get off the board. They play a bunch of Let the Storm Rage On, which is actually perfect because now with Grammatala, we can sing our Let the Storm Rage On, get rid of the Piglet that they played. A little cheeky there because Piglet is a captain. They kept the Smee alive for an extra turn. We'll ink a Fishbone. And then finally, I think it's time to play our Kit Cloud Kicker. Let's just challenge him into the Smee. We can go ahead and heal him for 2, and then I'll play my Noi. And then next turn we'll give it a resist and ward when we play the Fishbone. They get another Lantern down, so their characters are going to be 2 cheaper than they're supposed to be. We get another kit to play around with. Let's play Fishbone here. Actually don't need this Let It Go, but just in case they play something big, I might want to just hold on to it. Ink the kit, and then we can actually challenge into the Ursula with Grammatala and with Noi. Noi will take no damage back because of the resist, and then we can quest with our kits. They play another Smee, which is fine. We get a Fortisphere to draw another card. Getting a Tipo. We don't need that Tipo, so we'll use Fishbone to ink it. And then I think I'm going to just clear their board. We'll go ahead and play Let It Go, get rid of the Smee. And then we'll just quest. Now that we have the board advantage, if they play into like a whole new world, that'll work for us. They just have a Robin Hood. So now we're gonna get a bunch of lore. We can play Grammatala. Ooh, I do want the Lucky Dime, but we can keep the board clear with the Let the Storm Rage On here. Just have Grammatala sing it. Play another Fortisphere. We get another Let It Go. So now steamrolling the matchup even more, and they're not able to hit us with any songs or with the Noi and the kit. We draw into a Pete so we can lock out the game. Same thing with a Mufasa. They get a Piglet Pirate Captain, but we have more than enough songs in our deck or in our hand right now to answer that. We're at 11 lore. We're going to go up to 14 with kit, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we're not in game yet. We'll go ahead and sing one of the Strength of the Raging Fires with the Tala, getting rid of the Piglet. And then we'll sing with the other Tala to get rid of the Cinderella, just preventing a Cinderella Stout-Hearted from coming onto the board already ready. We know we're going to quest with the kit, quest with the Noi, and then just to lock out the opponent from playing anything, let's go ahead and play a Pete. We'll ink our additional Fishbone, and we'll get a Beast on the board, guaranteeing us that extra card draw on the next turn. So now they have no actions to play. They shouldn't have any answer to Kit or Noi. and we should be able to just quest with both of them, close out the game. And you see just the strength of having the ward characters on our side of the field while also having those low cost songs. We were able to sing them, constantly clear out the other side of the board, really playing this deck more like a Steelsong deck and less like a Tamatoa item deck. But we also have the Tamatoa Lucky Dime combo in our back pocket against some of the other matchups, where we might need to play a little bit more rampy. All right, so we have Ink Table now loaded up against Ruby Amethyst, one of my kryptonite decks that I time after time am not able to solve. Let's see if the additions to this Sapphire Steel deck are enough to take us over the top. We'll be going first here, and with our mulligan, we're gonna get rid of the duplicate kit that we got. We can get rid of Medal of Heroes, as that's a later game card that we're looking to play. Same thing with Pete. I don't want to have Pete really until probably turn 6, just to guarantee that we don't get Be Prepared. And I think he has a lot higher value later in the game. We'll keep Let It Go because we can sing it pretty early with the kit. And I'll hold on to that beast just for some card draw if we draw into some ramp. We hit another Pete, which is not the end of the world. We'll go ahead and just ink our Strength of the Raging Fire, play our kit, and then we'll pass. They don't have a turn 1 play, which is awesome. Let's ink the Cusco here. They don't have anything on the board, so it's pretty safe to quest with the kit. I don't think this deck runs like a 2-cost Queen of Hearts. There's the Flynn, which we can now ink our Tamatoa, play our kit, our bigger kit, and then use him to sing Storm Rage On, getting rid of the Flynn right away, and then passing. And we also hit a Fishbone, which is really good. We're going to be able to play this, get a little bit extra ink per turn, get us up to playing like the beast. So let's play that Fishbone. We'll use it to, in this case, let's ink Let It Go. I know I have more Pete's in the back of the deck, so we'll ink that as well, just to get the Noi out. She has resistant ward now because of Fishbone. We can pass. They play a Library, which is going to get them some card draw if we take out cards that have characters there. Let's play the Beast. We can Fishbone the Tipo away. And we'll just continue to quest for 5 now with this Kit Noi combo. Both of them have ward. They're on 5 ink, so they can't remove the Beast yet, but they do play Queen's Castle. Wishing I had that Cusco. We get a extra card draw from the Beast, and we can actually quest for 5, 6, 7, and they can't take out the kit this turn. So what I might do here is just ink Let It Go, play the Lucky Dime. Let's quest with everybody, and then if kit survives, we'll actually take this game before they even Be Prepared us, which would be awesome. They're just questing. Here's the 6 drop, which is just another Chernobog. They don't even have the Madame Medusa removal or like brawls. And we don't even need it, but we can quest with Kit Cloud Kicker and then use Lucky Dime to seal the deal. They had 2 Be Prepareds in their hand, so us turning on the gas early, just questing with the Noi, questing with the kit that we got out super early, allowed us to seal the deal before they played Be Prepared. If we did not close out the game there, this easily could have gotten out of hand because they would have been getting passive lore with the Library, passive lore and card draw with Queen's Castle. So you can see how out of hand this matchup can get when playing a Sapphire Steel deck, but being able to get that kit out early, it being untargetable by single target abilities, and then just having enough ink to play the Lucky Dime a turn early because of Fishbone to win the game. That does it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think of this upgraded version of our Kit Cloud Kicker anti-meta solution. Definitely still needs some tweaking before I'm confident enough to take it to something like set championships, but if things like Steelsong are going to rule the meta, we might have to start looking at these characters that have ward as potential answers. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. If you're playing Lorcana this weekend, I wish you the best of luck at your locals or any tournaments that you're entering. Thank you guys for all the continued support, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.